Great. Started. Fine. Hey everyone, welcome back to Healthy Mind, Healthy Life, the podcast where we dive deep into the stories, strategies, insights that help us align our emotional, mental, and the spiritual well being. I'm your host Avik, and today we have an incredibly special guest who's here to guide us through the powerful connection between mental health, energy, and the life purpose. Our guest today is none other than Alexa Darrin. So, welcome to the show, Alexa.
Thanks for having me.
Lovely, lovely. So, Alexa, before we start, I'll quickly love to introduce you to all of our listeners. Dear listeners, Alexa is a spiritual coach, psychic medium, and clarity catalyst for ambitious women. So she helps people clear the energetic clutter, align with their soul purpose, and turn that clarity into a fulfilling, profitable, and soul aligned life. So, Alexa brings a beautiful balance of grounded spirituality and entrepreneurial wisdom, having transitioned from a decade long career as a professional creative in the entertainment and advertising industries to unlocking her spiritual gifts and stepping into her life's true calling. So she is here to help us today to explore how our mental health, energy alignment, and the life's purpose are deeply intertwined. So, dear listeners, if you have ever felt pulled in too many directions, or maybe struggled to find that clarity in your life, or ever wondered that if you are truly living your purpose, then this episode is for you. So get ready to be inspired, challenged, and transformed. So, without further ado, let's welcome Alexa again to the show. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. Yeah, I'm excited to be here.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So, Alexa, I'm really thrilled to have you here today. And um, the thing is, you talk a lot about clearing the energetic clutter. Uh, so, if you can explain the energetic clutter, what exactly it means for someone who might not be familiar with this concept.
Yeah. So, I think energy and our own energy is something that's often misunderstood or overlooked, right? When we're thinking about kind of, our mental health or physical health, and we think about mindset, and
Hmm.
eating healthy. But just in the way that you shower every day to keep or every other day to keep clean, you also want to clean your energy. And so what happens is that, as we go through our day, we're picking up energy from the world around us and from the people that we interact with. And so what happens is every time you interact with someone, there's like an energetic cord that's created. And if you just it's just a one-off interaction. These cords are really light. And they're not going to have a lot of impact on you. But then from some of your other relationships with people where maybe that interaction is more emotionally fraught or it's an ongoing relationship, those cords can actually get bigger and, get some knots and get a little bit more complicated, so to speak. And so if you think about the energy that you're picking up from others, and just from your day, all of that can start to crowd out your own energy field. And so then it becomes really difficult to discern what
Mhm.
is coming from you and what you've picked up from other people, depending on how strong your energetic boundaries are and how good you are at kind of clearing out, the energy from others or that you're picking up. And so when you have that, it's not only is it hard to discern what's yours and what's other people's, that's also what can interfere with, connecting with your own intuition, right? Because if you've got a bunch of energetic clutter and stuff in there that's weighing you down, it's hard to tune in then to your intuition to kind of be guided towards, your kind of soul aligned path or what's going to be meaningful, what's going to light you up. And
Mm.
so that's one of the first things when I work with clients in my 3-month program is we get really clear on and, work through a lot of tools for keeping your energy clean and clear on a daily basis so you can connect with that clarity more easily.
That's that's really great. And um also, I mean, how can someone identify whether their emotional or mental struggles are tied to this energetic clutter?
Well, if you try some energetic like, kind of clearing practices and you feel better, then that's a good sign, right? So it's
Right.
going to take, it's a little bit of experimentation. But
Uh-huh.
also if you feel like, if all of a sudden you're maybe like depressed or feeling down, or you're feeling an emotion that is not one that you normally feel or that's tied to anything that's actually happened in your world, you're like, why am I feeling all of a sudden, really scattered, or why am I feeling really down? Then that's sort of an opportunity to think, okay, is this maybe coming from somebody else or something that I've picked up, or is my energy being weighed down by a lot of, things I've picked up, right? So that's definitely I think the first step, right? Is if you're feeling off, if you're feeling like this feels like this is new or doesn't belong to me, then doing some quick energetic hygiene can be a way to start to restore that clarity and get back to feeling like yourself.
Yeah, yeah, that's so fascinating, Alexa. I mean, I think a lot of us carry this invisible weight without even realizing it. So, uh, like it's empowering to know that clearing that clutter can shift not just our mental health, but also how we approach our purpose in life. So, uh, yeah, and uh, that's great. So also, like, you have described yourself as a clarity catalyst. So what are some of the kind of biggest blocks that you have seen in people when they are struggling to find clarity in their life's purpose?
Yeah,
Anything? Yeah.
so my whole program, Soul Purpose Alchemy, is really designed to help my clients get the clarity they need. Not
Mm,
only with, I work a lot with the Akashic records, so I do their record, I do their, this soul profile, which is
mm,
kind of like a personality test on steroids to really help them understand who they are on the soul level. But
yeah.
then also, clearing that energetic, clutter and connecting to your intuition. So it's like, I'm bringing in a little bit of clarity in terms of insights from the Akashic records, but I'm also helping them to be able to access clarity for themselves so that they're not dependent on me or somebody else, right? To really learn to empower yourself to understand who you are. And, whether it's you want to connect with your guides, your angels, or your higher self, or the universe, whatever your sort of higher power of choice or your divine connection of choice is, so that you can really get that clarity that you need and really hone in on what's going to make you feel fulfilled, feel purposeful, and feel connected to yourself in a really empowered way.
Perfect, perfect, lovely. And like, once someone identifies these blocks, what's the first step they can take to begin dissolving them?
Yeah, so there's blocks can come a few different ways, right? I think at the baseline, the energetic hygiene, first of all, doesn't take a lot of time, right? So, it could be a daily practice where in the morning, you do a quick kind of cord cutting,
Mm-hmm.
and then you also set up then boundaries, right? Once you've kind of cleared out the stuff that's not yours, called back your power to yourself, and then setting up that a boundary.
Ah,
So, but then also there's things that you might have be holding from past lives. So, again, that's why the Akashic records can be so powerful, because we can access past lives to see, are there blocks or vows you've taken, or things that have happened in past lives that are interfering with your ability to manifest what you want to manifest, right? Or to kind of live in a way that feels more expressive and empowered because of these things that have happened. And there's also things that can happen as a child, right? So inner child healing is also something that I work with clients on, because that's
mm,
something that can weigh you down, or conditioning from childhood, or things that we did not get from the adults in our lives, that have then created these wounds and these blocks for us to be able to step into our power. So clearing all that out. So a lot of it is clearing things out to make space for you to just blossom, right? And to be in your own energy and in your own confidence. And so, yeah, there's we do guided meditations, or something that I love. And so I have, a lot of guided meditations that I've created and channeled that help my clients to heal and release these things. And then there's also some work in the Akashic records that I guide my clients through to dissolve some of these blocks and wounds and things that are going on.
mm, mm. And okay, and like, I'm curious, like, your journey began with a spiritual awakening, and for people who might not consider themselves spiritual, how can they tap into this connection between mental health and energy without feeling out of their depth?
Yeah, I have clients that range the spectrum of how, spiritual they consider themselves. And usually, by the end they're feeling like they're really more tapped into their spirituality than they were at the beginning. But I think that energetic hygiene itself doesn't have to be like quote spiritual. Like it's a self-care practice. So you don't even have to really believe in a higher power, to say, okay, you know what, I'm going to take charge of my energy. That's just self-care, right? And so, taking a salt bath and saying, look, I'm not going to allow this in my energy field. I'm not going to, put up with this. I'm going to, assert these boundaries can be something that I think is something that yeah does not have to feel like you're diving in deep into spirituality. And I think also, for everyone listening too, I think we're going to put in the episode notes my free soul clarity reset. It's like a 3-day kind of energy reset. So there's a guided meditation, some videos that kind of dive into boundaries and cord cutting, and very short, very accessible to just kind of get you into, okay, what could my daily practice look like? And if you like the meditation, that's something you could do on a regular basis, or you create your own sort of process. So for anyone who's listening, that's like, what does this even mean? Like, I want to learn more and dive in. Then you can access that link for that free resource, which is, I think, really helpful.
Hmm. Understood. Understood. That's so awesome, I have to say. I mean, and do you think that spirituality and intuition can be cultivated over time, or are they things people are just naturally born with?
You can definitely cultivate them over time. And intuition is just like any other muscle. So the
Okay.
more that you practice,
Mm.
the more that it can blossom. Like if you think about things like clairvoyance and claircognizance, clairsentience, and
Correct.
clairaudience, things like that. That's actually one of the things that I work on with my clients in the Akashic Records. I can find out what are their strongest, but primary like two clairs. What are
Mm.
their intuitive gifts so that we can focus in on those, because the ones that you are more naturally able to cultivate, it's going to be easier to get those stronger. And then, of course, you can work on the other clairs as well.
Mm.
But yeah, intuition is absolutely something like once you, again, learn to get your energy back, kind of simplify and clear out that other stuff, it's easier to connect with your intuition. And you gotta create space. You gotta quiet down, right? You gotta put the phone aside. You gotta get yourself in a room alone. You gotta take
Exactly.
some deep breaths, or going out in nature, right? It doesn't have to be something that fits inside of a spirituality box or what you think, spirituality needs to be. But you need to create that space to just tune into your heart, right? And ask, what does my soul want me to know? Or what's my intuition want me to know? And it doesn't have to be a complicated, ritual.
Mm.
But once you start to create that space and to listen to it, to pay attention to how your intuition speaks to you, and start to cultivate that through, there's different exercises you can do and things you can do to cultivate it, then yeah, it can absolutely get stronger. And all of my clients experience that. Like, by the end, working together, it's like they feel so much more empowered to
Mm.
make decisions that they feel like are rooted in their intuition and their highest good.
Yeah, exactly. Perfect. Perfect. And so like you have mentioned turning purpose into profit. So that's a bold and kind of inspiring concept. So how can someone align their purpose with a career or maybe the business without compromising their authenticity?
Yeah, so that's something that I think, a lot of people feel, especially in the spiritual community,
Mhm.
like their purpose should be separate, from their income. Or I don't want to charge, people for things that are, spiritually related, or I just want to help people. But really, it's all an energetic exchange. And so I think, I love guiding clients through understanding, their purpose, guiding them through my soul purpose clarity formula, really understanding how you're meant to serve, right? And who your community is, what the gifts and energy you bring to the world. And then
Mm.
that way to create a mission statement, and a mission from that allows you to either build a career or to step into a
Yeah.
a job working for someone else that's going to feel aligned with the energy that you're meant to bring into the world. And yeah, sometimes your purpose does express itself outside of generating income. But I think that when you can align those two things and understanding how you serving other people
Yeah.
is helping them, and that should be you should feel okay about charging for that, right? Then that can create a really soul aligned life where you're able to help more people, because if you're able to charge what you're worth for something and to make that your life's calling and your career, you get to serve more people because you
Mm,
get to put more time into it instead of saying, well, I'm going to go work for this company and then I'm going to live my purpose on the weekends. Think
mm,
about the impact, right? That's only maybe a couple days, but if you can make it your life's work, think about all the people that you can help and serve, and think about how much you're going to light up from that. And so I love to sort of blend that practical, how am I going to make money? How am I going to put food on the table? How am I going to make this
yeah.
sustainable, with also how I'm going to make this feel really aligned to who I am on the soul level.
Perfect. That's awesome. Yeah, great. And okay, and one thing is like, what would you say to someone who's navigating the grief, but feels called to find their purpose through it?
Mm. Yeah, that's beautiful. So I feel like, the
Yeah.
challenges that we go through
Yeah.
are often a really important part of our purpose. And
Yeah.
so that is also a really big part of the work that I love to do with clients, is really to understand the
Mm,
challenges and the lessons that you've learned in life and how that fits into your story and how that prepares you then to serve others in an even more impactful and powerful way. So for someone who has experienced grief and and then feels like that is, a part of, they want to help other people who have experienced a similar grief because they've been able to navigate it,
mm,
in a way that they want to share, or they want to turn their pain into their purpose,
right.
then that's a beautiful thing. And so I think, leaning into that. And I think also knowing that you do not have to be fully healed from your grief to be able to help others. You just have to be ahead of them, because often, helping other people to heal
Yeah.
helps you to heal as well.
Perfect. That's really lovely. Awesome.
Yeah, and,
And
and actually it relates
yeah.
a lot to the work that I do. I lost my sister in May of 2023. And that was, right around the time I had started to, work with a teacher on how to access the Akashic records and to learn who I was, and to start to realize that I actually could communicate with spirit, because that's not something I knew that I could do in my whole life. And then the mediumship piece. And so that was something where I was going through a lot of grief,
Yeah.
but also then feeling like I knew what it was like to lose
Mm,
somebody close to me, and this connection, right, to a higher power and to a bigger perspective of why we're here, why we go through these challenges,
mm,
how to turn your pain into your purpose, into something more meaningful. It took on like another layer of meaning for me, right? And I am healing and continuing to heal by serving other people, and to heal from that loss, right? And that's something that I don't think I'll ever be fully healed from. That's something that I'll carry with me
mm.
forever, in this or in this lifetime, just because that's a whole, right?
True.
But by continuing to serve other people in this realm, it connects me daily to spirit, and to help me to remember, the bigger picture, so that I can continue to navigate that grief.
Perfect. That's awesome. That's really awesome. So, I mean, thank you so much, Alexa, for sharing your wisdom, vulnerability, and the practical tools with us today. And it's been such an enlightening and inspiring conversation, I have to say. So, for everyone who's listening, if you are feeling stuck or maybe overwhelmed or out of alignment, then let this be your sign to take a moment, breathe, and tune into yourself. And as Alexa beautifully said, that clarity begins with uh, clearing the clutter and trusting your intuition. It's really very important. So, dear listeners, if this episode has resonated with you, then do not keep it to yourself. Share it with a friend, family, or someone who actually need to hear this. And leave us a review and let us know about your biggest takeaway. So, until next time, this is your host Avik reminding you to that a healthy mind leads to a healthy life. And keep growing, keep healing, and most importantly, keep shining. So, see you next time. Thank you so much.